You know, this story is honestly beyond parody. Genuinely, this sounds like a headline coming straight from The Onion, but it's real. We just learned that one of Donald Trump's BFFs, Kid Rock, had his business operations disrupted, delayed, and obstructed by the entity that Trump has been funding and pushing forward relentlessly, which is ICE. So ICE directly lost Kid Rock money, and Kid Rock implicitly or explicitly is admitting throughout all of this that he relies on the very immigrant labor that he then demeans in the Oval Office with Donald Trump. I mean, before we break down this article that reads, Kid Rock's restaurant workers asked to go home to avoid rumored ICE raids, Lord have mercy. Can we just talk about the broader impacts that Trump's tariff policy and his deportation policies have had on businesses? Starting off with, the tariffs. Idaho farmers and small health products companies will struggle even with Trump's 30% tariff rate. Trump's gone back and forth between 150% tariffs, 145, 30% tariffs, and then he had Liberation Day tariffs. All of this unpredictability has, number one, hurt small businesses within the US. Number two, disincentivized capital investment, so people don't want to invest in an unpredictable economy, which hurts our economy. But number three, it's hurting farmers. Read this. Unless revoked or substantially reduced from the new 30% tariffs, President Donald Trump's China tariff will wipe out the investments made in our small family business and kill our manufacturing plant here in Boise. Now, this is a local newspaper. When I talk to my friends and neighbors about the continuing uncertainty, I hear similar expressions of frustration about the impact of tariffs on American businesses. For decades, my husband has specialized in producing high-quality health products, from protein or energy powders to supplements with vitamins and custom ingredients. We sold products in the United States, but as the market became saturated, they expanded. They exported to Poland, Brazil, Thailand. A few weeks ago, a Chinese company requested products from us and said it was unable to make products that it was unable to make. Despite the trade war, many Chinese consumers prefer American foods, and the ever-changing tariffs have killed any progress this company was making. All right, but what about the deportations that Trump promised? I mean, we said relentlessly throughout his campaign that there are three main problems with mass deportations. Number one, it's not logistically sound. How are you going to do this without tanking the economy, without mass violence, and without just being inhumane? Well, now we know they don't have a problem with that. But number two, it's not viable. It's not viable for many reasons, including this. Trump's deportations now have dairy farmers on edge. Facing labor shortages and immigration on crackdowns, dairy farmers across the U.S. warn that aggressive enforcement policies could devastate an industry already struggling to find enough workers willing to take on grueling year-round jobs. Why am I piecing these random articles together? It's to illustrate a picture of an economy that was already on the brink. If I'm going to be honest, I think Biden had actually a strong economy by the time he left. Yes, we have problems with wealth inequality and wealth disparity. A lot of things need to be fixed, but all indicators showed us leading into a recession in 2021 and 2022 because of COVID, and Jerome Powell and Biden were able to stick a landing with a steady hand. There were problems, but the economy, by all indicators, was doing well. I'm painting a picture of a president who promised to lower prices, but all he's done is create more uncertainty, more unpredictability, and hurt everybody. Meanwhile, he's currently in the Middle East trying to say the economy is ripping. Take a listen.
First week they were hitting me with eggs were up 200%, and now they're down to a number that is amazing. We're down 97, 98% from where they were.
It went down 97%? How? That did not happen. He's just continuing to lie. This reads, visit a dairy farm anywhere in the country, and odds are decent you'll hear conversations in Spanish. Like other farmers in the United States, dairy farmers rely on immigrant laborers from Mexico or Central America, many of them without authorization to work here. Immigrant labor is vital in getting milk to market. Almost every single study has shown that immigration, illegal and legal, is a net benefit for the economy due to the increase of labor available to companies, due to people willing to work jobs that other people don't want to work. Quote, it's a grueling lifestyle, says Wisconsin dairy farmer Tina Hinchley. And it's a very sad reality that due to the illegal status of many immigrants who come here illegally, obviously, if you're undocumented, you will be taking these lower barrier jobs because obviously you don't have the citizenship. You don't have a college degree yet. It's a grueling lifestyle, says Wisconsin dairy farmer Tina Hinchley. The Trump admin's aggressive stance on immigration has rattled many in an industry reliant on immigrant labor. There's especially the case on larger dairy farms with hundreds or thousands of cows. According to Farm Action, only 2.5% of dairies produce nearly 45% of American raw milk. And this brings me on to the most ironic one. Now, here's the thing. Before I got into the Kid Rock irony story, I wanted to talk about the serious effects on small business owners and even working class families who many of the time don't have $500 for an emergency, yet Trump wants them to pay an extra $2,000 in tax hikes. So I wanted to make sure we covered some actual solid stories before the Kid Rock irony story comes into play. If you've made it this far, drop some blue hearts and make sure you hit a like on the video. Also, YouTube keeps unsubscribing people from the Mockler channel. Scroll down. This is the Mockler channel and make sure you've hit subscribe. So, Kids Rock restaurant workers asked to go home to avoid rumored ICE raids. The irony of the people who have been pushing ICE relentlessly now saying, wait a minute, I don't want it to affect me. Nashville establishments owned by Trump supporter Steve Smith struggled as undocumented staff left mid-service. The restaurant Kid Rock's was one among several others in Nashville owned by the conservative restaurateur and Donald Trump supporter Steve Smith, or Kid Rock, where undocumented kitchen staff were asked to go home to avoid rumored immigration raids this weekend. The restaurant, whose full name is Kid Rock's Big-Ass Honky Tonk Rock and Roll Steakhouse, is licensed by the right-wing musician Kid Rock, who has also become one of the U.S. president's highest-profile supporters. But it found itself struggling to serve post-concert crowds on Saturday night after the order from the managers instructing employees without legal status to leave, according to the Nashville scene. Oh, the irony. It's almost like immigrant labor is a net positive for the United States. And we can draw a distinction if somebody is a criminal, if there's a criminal conviction, which is different from a civil violation, which is what crossing the border illegally is. If somebody's a criminal, as in they've abused and repeatedly beat or even killed somebody, you can deport them, but there needs to be due process, and you can't deport them to a terrorist prison confinement center. But as Americans, we should have no problem with somebody who's killed a family being deported. Please don't be biting that bullet. I've gotten emails saying, Adam, no deportations are okay. And I disagree. Many people would disagree. That's not a stance that we should be taking. The stance we should be taking is that due process is necessary, that many people are coming here to live a better life, that we should prioritize citizenship over deportation, especially when somebody is just trying to contribute to society. Quote, around 9:30 p.m. on Saturday, our manager came back and told anyone without legal status to go home, one anonymous employee told the outlet. Events at the Ryman, Ascend, and Savannah Bananas baseball game all let out, and it was crazy busy. But there was no one in the kitchen to cook the food, so Kid Rock not only lost direct money, but a reputational loss. Like Kid Rock, Smith has cultivated a reputation as a vocal conservative, fighting COVID-19 restrictions and backing Trump with campaign donations. Yet the episode appeared to suggest that his establishments, including the diner and Honky Tonk Central, are partly dependent on the undocumented labor the president has vowed to expel from the U.S. And just to clarify, sorry I haven't said this, Kid Rock and Steve Smith are two separate people. Steve Smith is a huge Trump supporter who's licensing Kid Rock's likeness, his MAGA likeness. In an aggressive immigration sweep, state troopers and unmarked ICE vehicles dramatically increased traffic stops throughout Nashville. This has netted in a lot of arrests, including over 100 individuals with no criminal history, according to a DHS press release, which is insane. And this is now affecting Trump and his supporters. I'm going to leave it at that. If you appreciate the videos I make, all that I ask is that you drop a like, subscribe. We have been growing a beautiful movement because of you all. And check this out. Out of the fastest growing political channels, the Mockler channel, this one, is beating Charlie Kirk. We beat Tucker Carlson. Now we are not beating Joe Rogan and Brett Cooper in terms of monthly viewership. So if you want to help us beat Fox News, scroll down, hit subscribe. Love you all. Peace out.